Phyllis in Tennessee. Welcome back to Hazelwood Homestead. Today I'm going to show you what I'm doing with some leftovers. I have got some roast beef, potatoes, and carrots that are left over in this container, and I want to use them before they go bad. So what I'm going to do, we had roasted potatoes, and so what I'm going to do with that is make beef stew. We love beef stew, so I'm just going to throw together some beef stew. So I will be using the remainder of my roast. So what I'm going to do is take, I've got 2 cloves of garlic already cut up and mashed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a 3rd clove just because I want that good fresh taste in there. Even though these are leftovers, if you change them from beef stew, if you change them from pot roast to something different, who's going to know? So that's what I'm doing today. I will be cleaning up this garlic, and I will be cutting up what I've got in my container that was in the refrigerator. So let me clean up this. I've got my pot behind me on the stove. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to cut up what I've got in here. I'm going to show you what I've got. I've got some broth in here. I've got my roast, my carrots, and my potatoes. This is what I'm working with to make another dish. First, I'm going to be cutting up my meat that is in here. I will be putting on some gloves. I had washed my hands before I started, so now I'm going to put some gloves on and cut this up. I'm going to put it into another Dutch oven and cook it. Not for long, because you know it's already been cooked. Basically, all I'll be doing is cutting this, or just shredding it up for the beef stew, and I'll be warming it up. I'll be reheating it. I won't cook it again. It's already tender. You can see by how I'm cutting it how tender it is. It just falls apart. So it would be a shame to waste this. So let's just turn it into another dish today. If there are some bigger pieces, just break them up. There's a carrot in there, and I'm going to do just about bite-sized carrots on there. Beef stew is good when you have cold weather. Nothing better than a hot bowl of beef stew. I'm going to reuse this to make the stew. I always make beef stew when I have leftover pot roast, and I hope you do that too. If you've never done it before, you need to give it a try. All right, it looks like I've got my meat done, except for one little piece right here. That's a potato. So now I'm going to take my potatoes. They're just about in the size that I want them to be. Take the carrots. I'm going to cut them. I will be using the broth that's in here from where I cooked the pot roast, just because it's got so much flavor. But like I told you, I'm adding some more flavor with spices and different things. There are onions that I had put in here when I did the pot roast, so they are in here too. Just make everything a little bite-sized piece, because you're going to be serving this like soup instead of a meal, a hearty meal on a plate. Some of the onions could be cut up a little better too. Now, if you've got any questions about what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, just put it in the comments, okay? All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to put all this into this pot that I have behind me, and then I'll bring you over here and show you how I'm doing everything. I'm going to, it's basically just recycling your food. So let's get this back and make it into my pot. I think I dropped one piece for the kitty cat. One piece for the kitty cat. I'm gonna get this. All right. See how simple this is? Now I'm going to take my garlic and I'm going to put that in too. Now I'm going to take my broth that I had from when I cooked my pot roast, and I'm just going to pour that in. All right. If I see anything in here that looks too large, like something I missed that needs to be cut up, I'll do it at this time. I'll just cut it up. I'm going to bring you over here and show you what it looks like, and see if it looks like anything that you might eat or anything that you might call beef stew. I will be adding some more ingredients to this. I'll be adding some more broth, beef broth, and some salt and some pepper. All right, let me bring you over here so you can see what it looks like, guys. Let me bring you over here to the pot so you can see in there what it looks like. It already looks like beef stew, and when we put our broth in there and let it start to cook slow, I do cook this slow because I'm just reheating it. It's all we're doing. If you want to add another can of carrots or maybe some fresh carrots, you'll need to let it boil a little longer to get your carrots done. But isn't that an easy, super fast meal? Okay, guys, to the same bowl that I had all of my leftovers in, I added 2 beef bouillon cubes, and I added some hot water. I've also added Worcestershire, about 2 tablespoons to my pot. I'm going to add some onion powder, probably 2 tablespoons of onion powder, also to the beef stew. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these bouillon cubes dissolve just a little bit. They'll keep dissolving as I'm cooking this. I'm going to kind of mash them down just a little, just see if they'll break apart. Yeah, I kind of like to break them apart because you don't want somebody to get a huge bite of a bouillon cube in your stew. So I'm just breaking that apart, and I'm going to add this and stir it up. I've got it cooking on a medium low because, like I told you guys, I'm just reheating this stew. I am going to be making some cornbread muffins to go with the stew. So now let's give it a stir, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Oh, golly. I wish you could smell it. Now, if you like a really thick stew, I like mine kind of soupy. If you like it really thick, you can add cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Or you can use a little self-rising flour, put it in a container, and just kind of whip it just a little bit and take that and put it in there. I put 1 tablespoon of self-rising flour in a little container, and then I'll put 2 tablespoons of water, and I just stir it up until there's no lumps in it. This is how I thicken mine. You can use cornstarch like I told you. Just do this. And I'm going to bring you over a little closer to the pot so you can see what I do next. Just to give it a little thickening. So let me turn you down so you can see the pot. And you can decide if you want yours thin like this or if you want it thick. Now you can see that it's cooking. It's not boiling. It's just kind of simmering because it's, you know, we reheated it. We did not have to cook it. It was already cooked. Now what I do with the little thing of flour, what you do, this is how I do it. Just take it and I pour, make sure there's no lumps, pour it through your fork, make sure there's no lumps. Now, you can put as much of the flour as you want, depending on how thick you want the stew. And then just give it some stirs. It changes the color, it changes the thickness. Now, as it cooks, it will get a little thicker. Groceries are so expensive. Let's recycle what we have left over into another meal. If you serve something and you think, well, I can do something else with that, let's try to do that. Don't throw it away. Like I tell you, you can take something and make nothing out of it. So, beef stew, a day or so, maybe 2 days. This roast is still good. And all I'm doing is reheating it and serving it tonight with some cornbread. You know, I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. It means the world to me. I started, I think, in June, doing a cooking show. Want you to see how I live out here in Tennessee on the farm. And so on the homestead here, I've been here since '85. If you don't know me, my husband and I redid an old log cabin that was his grandfather's, and we live in the old log cabin. And we have been here and we love it. Alan did all the carpentry work himself. He did it all. He did all the planning. We just took the cabin, we redid it. It had already been added onto. We took that and redid it also. It was in poor condition when we found it. And we basically restored it the best we could to live in. We couldn't put it back in its original condition because we wouldn't have been able to live here. It was too primitive for us. I have to have some electricity to cook. But we've loved living out in the country. We've enjoyed it so much. And those of you who don't know me, I'm a retired registered nurse. I worked for over 40 years as an RN. So I enjoyed that so much. But what I enjoy more is coming into your homes now, and you coming into my home now, and us cooking and talking, and you leave me comments that are so thoughtful and so nice, and you have so many good ideas. And one of my ideas that I wanted to share that somebody left about my my pot, my cinnamons, my little smelly pot that we make, you know, that we make the house smell so good. They told me that they put theirs in a crock pot and just leave the crock pot lid off and let that just go in their crock pot. So this afternoon, I'm going to make a trip down to my Goodwill store and see if I can find a crock pot to just plug in and run all fall and all winter with my good smelly stuff in it. The good smelly pot. I hope I find one. I'm thinking I can probably get a crock pot down there for about $4.99 or less. So I'll take you with me on this thrifting episode today, this afternoon. I'm taking my daughter to drop her car off to get her oil changed, and then we're going to go over to Goodwill while they're changing her oil, and then we'll pick her car up and come home. We have to go to a town away from us to get that done, or that's where she likes to take her car. So I'll show you our beef stew tonight when we get back from Goodwill and we have our stew, how we eat it and how I plate it up in a bowl. And I just thank you so much. Please subscribe and please like if you like the idea of eating leftovers. Some of you don't, but you know what? Sometimes it's really easy on your wallet if you eat leftovers. Thank y'all again. Like and subscribe. Bye. Okay, guys, I fixed to put some in the bowl and let you see what it looks like. Can you see what it looks like? I hope you can see. Let me see if you can get a good picture of what the stew looks like. Can't wait to try it. I think it's too hot for me to even try to eat it. I'm gonna try though, but I think it's too hot. Man, that garlic, it just gives it a great flavor. I've got to start using more fresh garlic instead of the garlic powder. It really makes a great difference in this dish. Use your leftovers, make you a great other meal. Please like and subscribe. Bye-bye.